His name was Chief Obi, Ifeoma's father. He had not been invited to Owerri. He had driven from Onitsha, 2 hours on the Onitsha-Owerri road, which is not a comfortable 2 hours, without calling ahead. He arrived at the Okafors compound at 10:30 in the morning in a black jeep with a driver. He was dressed in white Igbada and carried a walking stick he did not appear to need, except as a statement. He sat in the parlor and said, after the greetings were done, in a calm voice directed at everyone in the room, "I have come to look at the family my daughter has married into, and to ask some questions that nobody answered when the wedding happened without my consent." The room became very still. Chief Obi looked at Emeka. "My daughter tells me you are a good man," he said. "But goodness is not enough. I want to understand the foundation. And there are things about your time in London that concern me." Chief Emmanuel Obi was not a man who raised his voice. He was 64 years old, a retired civil servant who had spent 30 years working in the Anambra State Ministry of Works. He was quiet in the way that powerful men sometimes are, not because they lack opinions, but because they have learned that the opinion delivered quietly arrives harder. He loved his daughter the way fathers love daughters who reminded them of themselves, with a particular fierceness that is hard to explain to people who do not have it. Ifeoma was his second of 3 children and the only daughter. She was, by his assessment, the most capable person in his household, including himself, and he had never had a problem admitting it. But she had married without his blessing. She had come to Lagos, met a man in London, and signed a registry paper without a traditional ceremony, without bride price discussion, without any of the things that Chief Obi considered the minimum framework for a marriage that would last. He was not going to let that stand without at least looking the man in the eye. He had called Ifeoma when he found out. She had told him, "Papa, I am sorry for the process, but he is a good man. Come and see." So he came, and he was looking. Papa Okafor welcomed Chief Obi with the full protocol. The kola nut was brought. The prayer was said. The drinks were poured. And then, because both men were from generations that believed in directness wrapped in respect, they spoke honestly. Chief Obi said, "My concern is not with your family. Your family's name is known. My concern is with the marriage that happened without process, without bride price, without my knowledge." Papa Okafor nodded. "I understand your concern. We had the same concern. We also did not know until our son came through the door. We are not defending the process. The process was wrong. So we agree," Chief Obi said. "We agree." A pause. Then Chief Obi looked at Emeka directly. "Young man, why did you do it the way you did it?" Emeka looked at his father-in-law.
"Sir," he said,
"I was afraid." "Of what?" "Of being assessed. Of being found insufficient. I had built a life in London, but it was not the life I had planned. And I did not want to bring it home to be judged before I had finished building it." Chief Obi looked at him for a long moment. "So you took my daughter to the registry and put a ring on her finger before anyone could stop you," he said. "Is that what I am hearing?" "No, sir." Emeka's voice was steady. "I asked Ifeoma first. For a long time before I asked. I made sure she wanted it freely and not because of pressure. The process was wrong, but the choice was real." Chief Obi looked at his daughter. "Is this true?" he asked. "Yes, Papa," Ifeoma said. "He asked me many times. I said yes each time. The registry was my choice also." A long silence. Then Chief Obi turned back to Emeka. "You are my daughter's husband," he said. "I cannot undo that. And from what I see, she has chosen someone who at least speaks honestly when cornered. That is something." He paused. "But you will do the proper ceremony. Not because I demand it, because my daughter deserves it. And because the children of this union deserve to know that their parents' marriage was honored correctly." Emeka looked at Papa Okafor. Papa Okafor nodded once. "We are agreed," Emeka said. "Whatever you require, whatever is correct, we will do it." Chief Obi set his walking stick down. "Good," he said. And for the first time, something in his face softened. Adaora had found something. Not snooping. She was changing the bedsheets in Emeka's room, and an envelope had fallen from the top of the wardrobe when she reached up there. It fell, and the papers inside spread on the floor. She picked them up. and she stood very still, because it was a medical report, with Emeka's name on it, from a clinic in London, dated 8 months ago. She read it. She had studied biology at university, and she understood most of what the report said. What she could not fully interpret, she searched on her phone. By the time she finished, she was sitting on the edge of the bed with the papers in her hands and a completely different understanding of why her brother had come home when he did. It was not just the child. It was not just the guilt. Emeka had come home because 8 months ago, he had been diagnosed with a condition that required treatment, a serious but treatable condition, the kind that changes how you see time, that reshuffles priorities with one sentence from a doctor's mouth. He had started treatment in London. He was in the middle of it now. But he had come home because when you are looking at your own mortality, even briefly, even in a context where the prognosis is good, you come home. You come to the people who will hold you without being asked. You come to the place where you began. He had not told them because he did not want to come home as a sick man. He had wanted to come home as a man with news, with a wife, with a story, even a complicated one, not as a man who needed care. Adaora sat with the papers for 15 minutes. Then she got up and went to find her brother. She sat beside him without speaking. She placed the envelope on his knee. He looked at it. He looked at her. He did not ask how she found it. Is Ifeoma your emergency contact? Adaora asked. Yes, he said. But Mama is not. He did not answer. Emeka, Adaora said, very quietly. You need to tell them. Tonight. Not tomorrow. They are your parents. They are not made of glass. He was quiet for a long time. The evening sounds of Nikit around them. The generator. The birds in the guava tree. I did not want them to worry, he said. They have been worrying for 8 years without knowing what they were worrying about, she said. Give them something real to worry about so they can do something with it. He looked at his sister. And something in him gave way. The last locked room opened. Emeka picked up the envelope. He stood up. He walked toward the house. And for the first time since he arrived in Owerri, he walked toward his parents not carrying a version of himself, but carrying himself exactly as he was. He sat down. He put the medical report on the table. Mama Okafors looked at it. Then at him. What is this? He said, 8 months ago I was diagnosed with a lymphoma. It is a type of cancer that affects the lymph nodes. The doctors found it early. Stage 1. The treatment, chemotherapy, in smaller doses than the severe cases started in London 3 months ago. My prognosis is very good. The doctors are confident. But it is the reason I came home when I did. The room received this. The silence that followed was not the silence of shock. It was the silence of a family absorbing something and deciding how to carry it. The way the earth absorbs rain. Not resisting, just opening. Mama Okafors did not cry. Not immediately. She reached across and took the medical report from the table and read it carefully, the way she read her market accounts, looking at every number, every word, letting nothing pass without being understood. Papa Okafors sat very still. Adaora looked at her hands. Ifeoma sat close to Emeka and did not move. When Mama finished reading, she placed the papers back on the table. She took a breath. Then she said, not to Emeka, but to the report, as if it were a person she was correcting. This does not have the last word in this family. She looked up at her son. You will finish your treatment. You'll do everything the doctors say. And when it is done, it will be done. The body can be healed. The family will hold you. That is what family is for. Papa Okafors spoke next. His voice was not fully steady, but his words were. You should have told us 8 months ago, he said. But you are telling us now. And now is what we have. We will work with now. Ifeoma reached over and held Emeka's hand. And for the first time since he came through the arrivals gate at Lagos airport carrying all his secrets like a man carrying too many bags, Emeka looked like a man who had put the bags down. Deciduously, there is a particular kind of bravery required to tell the people who love you that you are not well. It feels like failure. It feels like letting them down. But it is not. It is the most important thing. Because love cannot do its work in the dark. Let the people who love you see you clearly. That is not weakness. That is the bravest thing. Next episode. The family knows everything now. The lost year. The child. the illness. The door is finally open. But healing a family is not a moment. It is a journey. And the final steps of this journey will require something from every member of the Okafors family, including the little girl in London named Adiz, who is about to make her first journey to Owerri. Next episode, the son who finally came home. Under the talking Baobab.